Hey, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. Go ahead, like this video and comment down below. Let me know where y'all from and who you a fan of. Let's get this thing started, man. So you already know that they had to have made an agreement for even QC to be sold. Before that, for even the Migos to split up. And it all started back when Quavo and Offset had their whole entanglement issue with Sweetie. But then look, Cardi B found out that it wasn't even Offset. That was where it was Lil Baby the whole time. But that started the whole ball rolling effect because they already knew that behind closed doors, when they had their last meeting with QC and the whole Migos was there and Cardi B was there and everybody was there, they all was in disagreements. Everything was all messy. It was all over the place. Basically, no one could come to no one could agree on anything. Like they all had their own different perspectives and views and whatnot, right? But then you fast forward and you look at it and it's like, they should have tried to stop them from selling QC because that was the last resort. Like they didn't want to have to do that, but that's what ended up happening. And now Offset has a new deal. Like Offset and Cardi B got the new deal with McDonald's right now. So you already know that the Migos is long and gone, man. Now it's probably going to be a lot of people who are thinking and seeing from what's going on that they're saying that it could be a new group with Offset, Cardi B, and somebody else. But we don't know who it's going to be. But you already know how Quavo, you saw him prepping for the whole solo act, man. Like you got to remember back in the days, man, when they did the Versace thing and they met up with Jay Prince and all of them. They met up with the whole entire Houston and they brought Drake in. Back then was when Offset wasn't even around. Like he was still doing time back then. So when they chose Quavo to be the spokesperson, they had to put somebody else up, and that all left was Takeoff. And that's why things are the way that they are now, because when you look at it from that situation, it's like that's why they had Quavo being the quote unquote leader of the group of the Migos, because he was the one that inevitably that they was going to use to be the one to be able to go on the commercials and do all the stuff with, because they knew at the end of the day, Quavo would be willing to do anything to stay at the top. You know what I mean? To stay as the person in the forefront, in front of the camera. When the three Migos line up in the music videos, it's Quavo who's in the front and then the other two's on the side, Takeoff and Offset respectively. But that's just the way that if you didn't peep game, you would have saw that already. Like you could binge watch all my videos where I'll be showing y'all exactly what's really going on. And then you got to understand that because they had Quavo as the front runner face of the whole operation of the Migos thing, that they basically had a special little interest in him rather than the other two. You see what I'm saying? So they would rather keep Quavo around for as long as they can, milk it to get all the bread through Quavo until he ends up eventually doing the split up. Like they might have, I don't know what they did in that meeting with QC and all them to get the Migos to argue with each other. Who really knows, right? Because a lot of people are saying that this didn't just randomly happen. This had to have been over time, from business dealings, from all this type of things, other ulterior motives, from the Sweetie situation to the other situation that Offset and Quavo had amongst themselves, like with their own families at their reunions and everything like that, man. And so what you got to understand is basically that they could see that the split up was coming. So they just fast forward the process and just got the Migos split up quick so that they could boom, boom, do what they need to do to sell QC. And it's like, how does it that they just get to sell QC like that? Like we thought that they were supposed to be doing ownership. We thought that they were supposed to be keeping the whole thing and just borrowing from the QC and just doing whatever they needed to do to keep the QC up and get to the next generation, because it's like, what's the point of them selling it unless they knew that it was some type of QC RICO or anything like that? Because you got to remember what they was talking about on the news for the last few months, that they were saying that the DA in Atlanta is still trying to get another person, another group. And people thought it was 4PF. People thought it was this or that. And then somebody even came up with that whole piece of paper that showed every little group and how it, like, they're on the list being watched, basically, when it comes to like all the rap groups and all the different sets there are when it comes to the 4PF chain, the 1017s, the CMGs, the YSLs, this and that. There's so many of them. I could go on and etc. But once they made that list of all the rap groups, and that's when you start thinking, who's the next people that's going to be coming out of Atlanta? And then boom, you've seen the thing happen with the whole Migos situation. Then they start splitting up and this and that happened because they already knew that it was going to be something in the background where they're probably looking at them closely, like what they had done and what they've been involved in. And they could go back and find out the connections to everything. And so people like in Atlanta really know what's going on with QC and with the Migos. And people in Houston really know what's going on with the whole situation with the Mob Tie, J Prince Jr., all that, Jazz Prince and Senior and all of them, right? And so when you connect the dots and the pieces together, you will already know that Migos already got a history with the whole Prince family and everything from when they first did the Drake song and all that, because the Prince family had Drake. Exactly. So then how do you know that QC didn't have connection to ties to the Prince family and Mob Ties and all that? Exactly. So what you got to look at is how everything was already in motion. Everything was all, people wasn't talking to each other. So how do you know that one group wasn't talking to the next group? QC could have been skipping through the Migos and talking directly with J Prince Jr. and them to figure out what they're going to do and how much they're going to get if they sell QC, and from them making Migos blow up from Drake, how much are they going to get from that? And this and the third, right? And so that's what's really happening behind that everybody is forgetting and forgetting about, because when you really look at it, they all know each other. Every single person that's involved in the situation at one point was in the room together at the same time in a big meeting talking about how they was going to get Drake and Migos and them on a song. And when Offset came out, he had to go check in and meet with J Prince Jr., but he didn't want to actually have to do that. He didn't like the fact that they had to make him check in when he was fresh out on his first day, basically, when he tried to go and visit them and talk about, you know, the ends that he had to be owed and broken off from his verse on Versace and Bando. And you see what's going on is that from that day on, then Offset already knew, like, yeah, I didn't like the fact that they made me check in and they doing this and that to our group and whatnot. So from there, he might have technically felt the type of way. You never really know. Allegedly, basically, you know, because everything is like not everyone's going to agree and just go with the flow. But he probably went with the flow for the betterment of the group. But you know people going to be feeling some type of way like that. So how do you know that didn't happen? Exactly. So basically, with all that, it's a revolving door situation, and you have to pay real close attention to what's going on. And now that you see today, basically on Valentine's Day, that Cardi B and Offset got the commercial with McDonald's, that already goes to show you that they already got a whole new group. They already signed to a whole nother thing. And basically Offset could have technically signed to Cardi B. Like, she got enough money where she could have put him on her team. You never really know that. And people are saying it in the talk around town, and what's really going on out here in the streets is talking. And what they're saying is that they got new partnerships. They already done moved on from the situation. They're not trying to think about how QC got sold. They're trying to, you know, basically, I'm sure they got a lot of memories that they don't want to forget about, you know, the good times and the fun and, you know, the checks coming in, their first time getting the big checks coming in from the hits that they made and all that. You know, they're going to cherish those, but they're going to try to, you know, forget about the negative, learn from those lessons and move forward and just keep going on. And so we're going to see how Quavo responds to this and what he's going to do. And we're going to see his new deals and who he's working with next. And it's going to be interesting if they have if each of them make new groups and get new people on. You never really know. And so that's what's really going to be what people are going to be paying attention to. So with all that being said, basically, just go ahead and subscribe to this channel. Comment down below. Let me know where y'all from. Like this video and share it. And just pay attention to the big breaking news coming out soon. And I'm going to catch you there on the next video. Peace.